Welcome everyone to our Take Charge of Your Life discussion. Our focus here is self-mastery and living an abundant life while living into our fullest potential. I'm Roberta, the owner of Wake Up to Life Wellness, and just wanting to share our passion here today. Mine is to help people transform in mind, body, and soul as a holistic health practitioner and elite mentorship trainer working with as a personal transformation specialist. And this is my co-host Tish.
Hi, I'm Tish Taylor from Growth Centric Living. I'm a mindset trainer and personal development or personal transformation guide. My main purpose in my business is to not only help leaders and mentors to develop themselves personally and gain some of these skills that we learned later in life in order to help us live to the fullest, but also pass those skills on to future generations and build legacies for ourselves.
Awesome. And so, as we mentioned, we're both elite mentorship trainers with our mentor, Peter Sage. He's the creator of the Elite Mentorship Forum and many other dynamic programs and things that he does around the world. So I just want to introduce you to him. He's an incredible visionary. He's a world-renowned teacher, author, and transformational leader. He's a behavior expert, so he's devoted his life to helping people really awaken to their true potential. And what's unique about his work is that he blends the spiritual wisdom, the deep spiritual wisdom with practical life mastery. So we're not just listening to information or getting an intellectual understanding, but we're actually embodying the work and the transformational gifts that he gives to us. And so we do create that better life that we're all seeking. And so for the structure of our call, we're going to be talking about mind, body, and soul transformation. So we're going to talk about the three different areas. So living empowered with the mind, living healthy in the body, and living free in the soul. And so Tish is going to share with us our discussion topic for today.
Excellent, thank you. So this week's video is really bringing a bunch of principles and concepts that we've been talking about through our 40 Let's Take Charge of Your Life discussions that we have done so far throughout the year. We've been following our premium program itinerary and trying to give you tips and tricks from that. This is in module 13, which is one of the final modules. So we appreciate all of you that have been on this journey with us. And if this seems too sort of in depth, then we encourage you to kind of go back and see some of our earlier videos so that you can really bring this all together. In this week's video, with all of the knowledge that we have, we're inviting you, Peter invites you to think about the rules that you set up for your life or the principles that you wish to live by. Peter calls these non-negotiables and encourages us to think of them from a desire for the greater good versus just setting desires based on your own personal ego. So I will share the video and then we'll continue our discussion.
When you study great achievers in history, there is one common denominator that a lot of people overlook, and that is their list of non-negotiables. So if you look at people like Gandhi, Gandhi had a non-negotiable, which was, I will not resort to violence in the freedom principles of trying to get England out of the grip of the Raj. If you look at Nelson Mandela, Nelson Mandela's non-negotiable is, I will not compromise on a free South Africa where everybody is equal. The power behind a non-negotiable is huge. Now, if your non-negotiable is driven by ego, then that's just going to create barriers. But if it's driven by a set of ideals for the greater good, then you will find the universe aligning with you to really help propel you forward in the face of what most people experience as challenges or overwhelming odds. So my question for today is this: what are your non-negotiables when it comes to how you live your life?
As I listen to that, I think of the weight of that concept, of non-negotiables. I think of that we're all running a pattern and a program, and we're, experiencing life, whether we're creating it ourselves or we're running old patterns that aren't even ours, or, beliefs, things that are expressing themselves in the world. So really to look at this, to make a decision that I'm going to create my own non-negotiables really is the power behind creating that life that I really want. And, we talk about in the mindset here that non-negotiables aren't rules that you're force yourself to follow, because, how many of us are going to follow self-inflicted rules, right? We resist them automatically, but we really need to decide what our values are. So for me, let's say if health is a real, top value of mine, I'm going to have very clear non-negotiables around that. And that's an easy decision because that value is what drives me. That's what, propels me forward or pulls me forward. So I'm always going to be creating my non-negotiables based on what my true values are. And so I think that's one of the key parts to making it aligned with us and also to making it enjoyable. If it's something I'm passionate about and I really believe in, it's much easier to set, specific guidelines around it of things that I'm willing to do and things that I'm not willing to do to protect it. Things that I'm not going to let somebody overstep my boundaries and get me off my course. I'm going to stay in my non-negotiable path. When we're driven by ego, like Peter said, our non-negotiables, they do become rigid and controlling and divisive. We're doing it for the wrong reasons. So if I'm my non-negotiables should be helping myself and the greater good, something that's ethnocentric, not egocentric, just for my own benefit and at the expense of everyone else around me. So if I'm driven by that principle of giving instead of taking, and I create something that's really a guide that's going to help people, help myself, the universe is going to step in and help me with that. So I have this support system that's going to make these things more realistic and more possible in my life. And if I'm working against that system and against that flow, I'm going to get obstacles. And so it's kind of, we have this built-in direction system that's going to guide us to what our non-negotiables are, that really make us feel good, that align with us, and really, help us to create something that we're proud of and where we're contributing to the world rather than just taking.
Since this is part of our live empowered, there's two big things that I hear you kind of saying in there, in that how empowering it is, to know that we get to choose these for ourselves, and it isn't something that you just have to live with based on what was kind of developed for you potentially. I certainly, this was a game changer, I feel like, in my life, to be like, wait, I get to decide what these are. I get to consciously spend some time and decide what's important to me. What am I going to make decisions based on? What are going to be my guiding principles that I live my life throughout? And, some things you kind of do naturally, like Roberta was saying, but there are some other things that maybe I was doing that I could become aware of and change. And then as well as that compass and that guiding light, when we're in the mind piece, I think of decision fatigue and how exhausting it is to constantly try to think to myself, should I do this or should I not do this? And not really know what to compare that decision for, or have like criteria based on how to make those decisions for ourselves and decide whether an action is good or beneficial, or whether we align with it or not. These principles give us that. They give us that compass, or that leading light, in order to help make those decisions quicker and, know confidently that they're aligned with your purpose and what you want out of this life.
Yes, the empowered mindset that we get to choose our direction of travel. We get to choose what we want in our life and what will make us proud, right? At the end of the day, I think many of us and all of us have been able to, say we're going to do something and then not follow through with it, and how that feels internally. I've let myself down. I feel disappointed, and then I may not want to try again because I'm not going to do it anyway. And how that spirals down into a life of constant not pursuing what I came for, what really gives me passion, what really helps me express myself in the world. And I know I've been down that spiral where everything was just so negative, and I couldn't seem to get a grip on creating momentum forward into an empowered way of being. And setting these non-negotiables for me was like drawing a line in the sand at different times for different situations, or things that I was wanting to really manifest in my life, and just making that decision. So there has to be an executive decision that says no more. I'm not doing it the old way. I'm creating a new way. And then surrounding yourself with other people who are also on that path. There's so much wisdom and insight and perspective that comes forth, and we gain that cooperative support, I guess, from our peer group with the Elite Mentorship Forum specifically. And it just keeps us focused on those non-negotiables rather than just kind of throwing up our hands and walking away and saying, you know what, I tried all these things, I'm just not good at it, or whatever. But, we want to create that better life. I mean, that's why we're here. We want to create the best life possible and living into that full potential. So these non-negotiables are they're just awesome road signs for me and guidelines that keep me in that space. But they're, like Tish said, we get to choose them, and that's what makes it so much fun. I just get to choose things that I love and that will make me proud of the life I've lived at the end of the day.
A good example of that for me in my life is just that option for me. A non-negotiable is that I will continue to grow. I will continue to learn. I will be humble in my own existence and give myself grace to know that I may not be where I want to be, but I can keep striving and keep looking for that and figure out how to get to where I want to go. Mm-hmm. And that community piece that Roberta's talking about has been key in surrounding myself so that you're always around other ideas and inspiration to sort of keep that going along the route that you're choosing for yourself.
Yes, that needing that championing, from other people. That's just part of the human need, I think, is to be supported. Nobody really succeeds as an island. And so it's really a powerful, opportunity for us to keep leveling up. I was just listening to one of Peter's little reels this morning, and he talked about, we're going to become who we hang around, right? So if we're hanging around 5 other people that are creating this life and moving forward and have a clear direction of travel for their abundant life that they really want, then I'm going to be kind of pulled into that inertia, and I get to, start leveling up too. So the tip we have for living empowered in the mind is, before creating your non-negotiable list, ask yourself, is this coming from my higher self or my more mature self, or is it coming from fear or ego or a desire to be right? Am I just trying to impose something on the world? If it elevates my integrity and expands my consciousness, then it belongs on the list. But if it, empowers my ego or contracts me and makes it all about me, then it's not a non-negotiable.
All right. Beautiful. So we encourage you to spend some time thinking about that. And then we move into our live more healthy realm, where we talk about physical bodies and how to apply this concept of having non-negotiables and guideposts really within your life, within the physical health realm. When we talk about physical health, the one point I want to make is that this is like your vessel, right? This is your vessel that carries your purpose. So whatever you're deciding that you want for your life, and this is a great time of year to be thinking about goals and where do I want to go, and who am I or who do I want to become, which we encourage you to think of your goals as I need my physical health and my body to be able to walk me through that mission. It is a sacred part of that mission, and naturally how you can give yourself the most empowerment in that mind by taking care of your physical health. So for somebody who may not be aligned with non-negotiables in the health realm, you might say things like, do I feel like taking care of myself today? Am I, interested in that? Versus, if this is your non-negotiable, that you do healthy things, that you do take care of your body and honor your body in the way that we have been discussing really throughout the last year, then does this choice align with my legacy and what I want to live and what I'm looking for in my life is going to be a much more empowering question as I decide, am I going to eat this? Am I going to move today? What am I going to do for my physical health? And the nice thing about having non-negotiables in this area is that it removes guilt, shame, and inconsistencies, right? If I've decided this is a non-negotiable for me, that this is a guiding principle, that I take care of my health more often than not, then I can make clear choices. Things get easier, as we were talking about in the mind. And I consistently will make more decisions like this because becoming healthy is part of my identity. Honoring my health and my body becomes part of who I am by choosing these types of non-negotiables.
Beautiful. I love how we can combine the mind, body, and soul into our essence of who we are, right? And how we show up in the world. I always tell people we can't just work on one or two areas. We really need to address all the pieces of us, all the parts of us, all the expressions in the world, because without physical health, we can't really express much. And I think of the non-negotiables around health. So many people say health is their priority. But for it to be a priority, it has to have clear directives, right, for how we're going to maintain this body. And I think of maybe 100 years ago, people didn't have to focus so much on the physical health because their circumstances took care of it. They had to exercise every day. They were hunting for food. They were outside all the time. They were getting sunshine. They were moving all the time. They weren't in the kind of environment that we live in now that's really not conducive to a vibrant, healthy body. But, over time, people just get conditioned to believe that that's normal and that's just life and that's just the way it is. But it doesn't take a whole lot of, like extreme effort, time, or even a lot of money to create a healthy environment in the physical realm. And so that's, such a passion of mine to have people wake up to that, because really, at the end of the day, this is, a very ethnocentric focus. Do I want to live healthy so that my family and my loved ones can enjoy who I am and my expression in the world and my participation in their life long term? Or do I want to be broken down and miserable and having them have to take care of me or losing me early? Or, there's just lots of, suffering that is around physical health in our culture and our society that people could take charge of and could take, really make that executive decision, that non-negotiable, that I am going to restore my health. And the path there is available to us. So that's a real necessity really in our society. Like Tish said, most people can't live up to their potential without a healthy body and a healthy mind, which is part of being healthy in the physical realm.
That leads beautiful into one of the examples that I was going to share, in that one of my non-negotiables is that I continuously strive to move my body and, become stronger, be active, and improve that area of my life on a regular basis. And if I'm being honest, it's not perfect. It's not exactly where I would like it to go. I do at times have conflicting priorities, but I can keep coming back to it. And one of the nice things, when we talk about future generations, which is certainly a passion of mine, is that to know that I'm a role model, whether I want to be or not. I have children, so that makes it like the most obvious as a parent that I do have people looking up to me. And I can see how this is affecting them, even though I'm not perfect. And I admitted that I don't do this on a regular basis or as much as I would like to. I haven't met all of my goals in the physical health realm, but because I'm continuously talking about it, because I'm continuously trying to improve in this area and having those discussions, both my teenagers now currently attend gyms and exercise regularly, which was not something that I did when I was at that same stage in life. So I can be proud of the legacy that I have led down the line by being a role model and striving to improve myself in these physical health realms due to the non-negotiables that I've decided, for myself.
Yeah, I think of the non-negotiables in health, that saved my life. Really, they literally do save our lives. Those non-negotiables in the health realm. So I always, have to inquire with people that are very sick. Do you truly want to, be here? Do you truly want to make a decision to save yourself, to restore your physical body, so that you can turn that trajectory around and have that dynamic health that the body's capable of giving us? And for myself, the non-negotiables, there's several of them. Of course, they just accumulated over the years. The more aware I became of how the body works, well, it's like, of course, I'm going to align with the body. In the end, the body gets the last word. So I might as well just agree with it and align with it and do what it asks me to do. And with my quantum testing, it's just been so clear, how the body works, what it needs, what's helping it, what's making it tired, what's giving it energy. And so you just kind of get into that groove over time. And it's not a big task anymore to take care of the body, nor should it be. We shouldn't have to spend our whole life just, slaving around trying to figure out what to eat, how to take care of this body while it's living on the back foot, when we can bring it into the, into an optimal state, and then have that, and then take all that time, energy, and focus on, living life. That's been my passion, to help people see that.
Amazing. If we can sort of expand on that kind of role model piece, right? Especially as we move into the holidays, people need, people that are making these decisions and have strong negotiables for themselves, so that they can be an inspiration for somebody else, that we don't need to gorge. We can enjoy holidays and make healthy choices for ourselves, even though that might not be the societal norm. You can choose, one piece of pie instead of maybe, trying all of them, even though they're all yummy, or maybe it's smaller pieces, whatever that kind of looks like for you. But having more people having these sort of discussions and deciding to make health a non-negotiable for themselves allows more of us to continue, making those same decisions and move along that path.
Right. When I think of it, I just, one more thought is that, do we value our health more than we value how we feel when we get to eat something? I think, it's to me, it's become such a clear decision, because I suffered a lot. And so, like, I'm not going back there. That was my cue that I'm done with that part of the world. So, but, when people are eating, and they just kind of talk themselves into it left and right, and there really has to be a value. Do I value getting better, having energy, focusing, staying, active in the world? Or do I value that food that I'm eating more, and that comfort of what we call comfort, right? That familiarity, whatever that is. So every decision really is based on a value. And I think if we create a strong, powerful focus for what our value actually is, and just be honest with ourselves. And for some people, it's not. Some people are okay with, they're just like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want, eat what I want, and then I'm going to move on once I leave this world. And that's perfectly fine too. But if we truly want health, then we just have to make a decision within ourselves and really decide that, and not talk ourselves out of it. Otherwise, it's not a non-negotiable, right? If we could talk ourselves out of it.
So true. So that leads us to our tip in this section, where, I'm going to invite you to get your journals out again and, start thinking about your health from this realm. What are your values? What are the non-negotiables that you want? And if you can start by just picking one, if that's where you're at, or improving another one that you have along, that you already have and have already decided sort of for yourself, how can I make that 1% better? this year and next. And some easy examples might be, 10-minute morning movement. If you aren't somebody that moves regularly, you can do 10 minutes no matter what. I can make that a non-negotiable for myself, or 5 minutes, or even, 1 minute. I read a morning book where it takes out all of the excuses, whatever that looks like, for you. Or maybe it's one more time than what I've been going to the gym already, if that has already become a habit that I do regularly, then how can I keep improving it? How can I habit stack with other examples like what I put into my body? As far as, should I drink more water? Maybe I can drink water before my coffee every morning, and that will be a new non-negotiable principle that I set for myself that I can do easily and still honor myself and my body through these non-negotiable values that I just build on every year for myself.
I love how they're so simple and small little increments, like it's like you said, we can all do that. We can all say, I'm going to drink a glass of water every morning, and I actually write things down because there is so much coming at us in the world. I'll just make a list, of an idea that I got, and I'll just jot it down so that I keep it before me until it becomes a habit. And it could be just one little thing, like Tish said, for 21 days, I'm going to drink water every morning until that becomes natural. And then, pick another little thing. And it's amazing how if you did that over an entire year, what a completely different direction your health and your choices would be in. So that leads us into the live free in the realm of the soul. And we talk about non-negotiables here as like a spiritual contract with ourselves. It's like a sacred agreement that we have made a decision on within ourselves. And it really defines the standard that I choose to live from, regardless of circumstances. So again, it's drawing that line and making that internal decision that this is what I really, really want for my life, and nobody can talk me out of it. And once it becomes part of who I am and what my values are, and I really have that alignment within in that inner world, I'm just not willing to negotiate, right? That's why it's a non-negotiable. So when it's rooted in love and contribution, like we talked earlier, and truth or compassion, then we're sharing that gift of ourselves with the world, and it just becomes a natural expression of who we are. It doesn't become like so much effort and work. It's just like, oh, I finally discovered, and I kind of did the inner work, and through all this process, we're really finding out who we are and who we want to show up as and what kind of life we want to live. And as we get more into that expression, it just becomes natural to be in alignment. And so at the end of the day, I don't have to have that guilt or regret or disappointment in myself because I didn't follow through with certain things. It just becomes a natural expression of who I am over time.
I have two examples in this area. One being just my the kindness and that compassion piece that you've talked about. One of my non-negotiables is that I don't accept or judge people based on, what I have heard or gossip or those kinds of things. I choose to, live in love and follow my heart and really seek to understand people from their points of views. We've had a few talks already and discussions about what that looks like. And that's really about living free and understanding that, we're all spirits on our own journey and trying to sort of accept that and love people through it, as well as, for me personally, being a leader in that choosing kindness and good and loving action so that in hopes of inspiring and lighting some other sparks for others that may give them permission or, an idea, the spark that they need in order to continue along their growth journey as well.
Yeah, that's perfect, because we really can't influence anyone until we live it ourselves. You don't embody what we're leaning into. I can't talk someone into doing this and be the example. I have to just be the example, right? And sometimes that doesn't even need words. In fact, many times it doesn't need words. It just needs, me, like you said, being an example to our kids or people that are looking on, or showing up in a certain kind, compassionate energy that people feel safe and comfortable in. And I can give them, that acceptance or that approval or that understanding that their nervous system is seeking and their heart and soul is looking for. And so I love this kind of looking at the soul realm or the spiritual realm is just that. And for me, it's like that maturity that I want to, love people is really the goal. Unconditional love is really one of the very higher levels of consciousness that we are aspiring, to work towards and live towards. And so our tip in the soul realm is to choose one soul-based non-negotiable that defines who you're committed to becoming. So some of the examples are, I don't negotiate my compassion, like Tish shared. That's, non-negotiable. She's going to give compassion to everyone she meets. For me, it's like, I don't negotiate my integrity or my truth. For me, it's, I'm going to stand in my truth no matter what's going on around me, no matter if someone agrees with me or doesn't agree with me, but that's really important that I stay true to myself and who I really am. Another one could be I don't negotiate my commitment to living from a space of love. And, I know I'm aspiring to show up that way more with less judgment, less division, less duality, less self-centered, fear-based, reactions, choosing love over fear. So there's just endless non-negotiables that we could plug in. But I think if you think about this and really decide, what you want your life to be, you can start making a list of your non-negotiables, and it'll be fun. It'll be something that you get to see, like, oh wow, this is who I really am, and this is what I really love, and I actually am really good at this. And instead of trying to please other people, we're actually just aligning with our truth and pleasing ourselves.
It's amazing the more time we kind of spend with ourselves and really kind of getting to know ourselves, how clear these things become. I can be honest, and for anyone that might be feeling overwhelmed, when I first started thinking about who I want to become and on this growth journey, it was very foggy and very kind of confusing as to, where I was and where I wanted to go. And should I be upset with myself, or, can I live with grace, or is any of this possible? And the more you massage it, the more you stand in these truths and spend time with yourself intentionally, the easier it becomes. I can tell you that for sure. The clearer the picture sort of develops before our eyes. So in summary of what we talked about today in the Live Empowered and Mindset, we talked about creating non-negotiables and how this is about knowing your values. Therefore, you're making decisions easier based on the rules and principles that you have for yourself. And then giving ourselves a compass, for our lives, which hopefully is calibrated with the greater good in mind. As Peter suggests, the universe will line up behind you when you choose non-negotiables that way. In the physical health or live healthier realm, we talked about nothing else works properly without your physical health. So we really need to, or encourage you to have non-negotiables around your health in this realm. Even if you're thinking about what those dreams and stuff are at this time of year, if you don't have a body that can go and do it, then, you're kind of handicapping yourself a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, and then secondly, to know that you are a role model. Physically, we are role models, whether we want to be or not. People see you, they are watching what you're doing, whether that be children that live directly in your household or somebody at, in the line at Walmart that, happens to notice your behaviors and your mannerisms and how you treat the cashier, any of those things. You're being watched. You are a role model, whether you want to be or not. So I hope that you use your non-negotiables to make it easier for you to lead as well as take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, in the live free and soul realm, soul-aligned non-negotiables should pull you forward into your highest good. They dissolve fear, neutralize external pressures, and anchor you in your true power.
Beautiful. Thank you. So as you're listening to us today, if you feel something awakening inside you as we talk about these non-negotiables and realizing that, yeah, this is doable, and maybe you never really thought about it before. But if you're thinking that you need a higher level of inner leadership, right? Because that's what we all need to guide ourselves, like I said, into that life that we truly want and love and that we're proud of. And that you want to really embody that version of you that doesn't break promises to yourself, because there's nothing more discouraging and defeating in my life anyway, in the past, than breaking my own promises. A lot of it, I just didn't have clarity on how to, like, I knew what I wanted and I knew what I envisioned, what I maybe respected in other people. And it's like, yeah, I want that, but I just didn't know how to get there from where I was in the stuck places in my life. And so this is an opportunity for, the Elite Mentorship Forum to be part of your journey and bring you forth into that clarity and that direction of travel and living that life that you can love yourself at the end of the day and know that you did everything you could to, to live into the purpose of it.
Yeah, actionable tools was definitely what I was looking for on my journey as well. And this premium program that we now offer to others is definitely what gives that to you. So we encourage anybody that might be considering it. If this is sparking something in you and you think, I want more of that from listening to any of our discussions, please reach out. Our curiosity calls are free, and you can inquire, learn if this is the path for you. It certainly has been a life-changing path for me. And then that leads us to our last piece of our discussion. We'll end with a quote. This one I have chosen from Albert Einstein, and he says, try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value. So who you become really is your legacy. And these non-negotiables that we've talked about today is really about centering those values in action and making them your guiding light for who you're becoming.
Yeah, perfect way to end our discussion on non-negotiables. So if you find value in this, please like and share it with other people that you love and help us spread our message. And we're just so grateful that you spent your time with us today, and we look forward to seeing you on our next discussion.
Have a growth-filled day.